customer service, done right, can be your company's single biggest competitive advantage. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution. Join customer service authority and best-selling author John DiJulius as he interviews leaders who are revolutionizing their industries. This is more than a podcast, though. It's a movement. The Customer Service Revolution is a radical overthrow of conventional business mentality designed to transform what customers and employees experience. If you're a revolutionary customer service leader who's ready to stop competing on price and obsessed with building a brand that people cannot live without, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution podcast with John DiJulius. This week, John talks with Andy Buyting, founder and CEO of Tulip Media Group. Andy is a best-selling author, serial entrepreneur, and strategic advisor. As a leader in business development and marketing, Andy helps businesses grow with his integrated sales and marketing, SMarketing strategy. Andy and John discuss Andy's newest book, Double Sales, Zero Salespeople. Optimize your sales and marketing into one business development strategy that works. In this episode, you'll learn how to double your sales with zero salespeople, what you should be measuring to be certain you're getting a good return on your marketing investment, the difference between marketing and promotions, can online marketing or promotions really be measured, and the role customer service plays in your growing business. Now here's your host, John DiJulius.
Hello, revolutionaries, to another episode of the Customer Service Revolution podcast. I am John DiJulius, Chief Revolution Officer of the DiJulius Group, and I am so excited to have a longtime friend as my guest today, Andy Buyting. Andy is the founder and CEO of Tulip Media Group, and Andy is a two-time international best-selling author, serial entrepreneur, and strategic advisor. He is a leader in business development, marketing, and has helped businesses grow all over North America with his integrated SMarketing strategy. Please welcome Andy Buyting.
John, it's so great to see you and to hear your voice again.
I know. It's had to have been, 2-3 years since pre-pandemic, no?
Yeah, since we've I think it was just before the pandemic, we sat down in your office there one day. But it's been a while. Yeah.
And my attendees or listeners can't see, but you look younger than ever. And you got your Tulip jacket on, which is your signature trademark. And, we're here to talk, I believe, about your third book. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So myself and Jessica Embry, my partner in crime, and young lady that works with us at Tulip Media, we wrote Double Sales, Zero Salespeople. And it was published just about a year ago now.
I love that. Double sales, zero salespeople. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so it was an interesting story, John. Where it came from was, we were growing our business, small marketing company. We were doing content marketing, custom publishing, different things for different clients and so on. And we were growing our business using what we kind of stopped at our tracks and said, we're using old-fashioned sales techniques and tactics to grow the business. And I looked at it and I was thinking, this wasn't working because it was costing us too much. Our cost of acquisition was going through the roof. We had a sales team of 7 people. There was a sales manager and 6 salespeople, and costs
were
were
your
going through the roof.
tactics? What were the traditional tactics that you were using?
So in the beginning, like a lot of entrepreneurs, you start with the friends, family, and fools. It's the personal network, but then you hire a salesperson, then another to do a lot of cold calling. So we went into the office set up where the dashboard's on the wall, tracking how many calls were made that day, the number of emails, the number of contacts or meaningful conversations. There's dashboards and numbers, and people were lots of activity, but we weren't selling anything. Like nothing to speak of, nothing that gave us a return on our investment. And I was I'm part of a business conclave that meets in Boston every spring called the Gathering of Titans. And I was there, and a good friend of mine from Denver got up, and I share the story in the book. So, and with his permission, Patty Condon got up and he talked about how in his business, and they do high-end home renovations, and it's called Finished Basements, and they have offices in Denver, Minneapolis and Chicago. Patty got up and talked about how he completely transformed his business growth engine for his company. He said, he had these salespeople. He said, what would happen is customers would come to them from their marketing, be assigned to a salesperson. The salesperson would talk to them, bring them in. And all the while, when you're talking to a salesperson, your defenses are going up a little bit, but they bring them in, they talk to one of their designers, and the customers would get really excited, right? Talking about the color of the trim and the style of the countertop and the this and the that. And they get excited. And then they go back to the salesperson. He said, where oftentimes the deal would die. So he said, I just changed it all. He said, I told my partner, I'm willing to bet the farm on this. He said, I want to actually let go of the entire sales team and just revamp our go-to-market strategy. He did that. And he actually focused a lot of energy, a lot of resources into his marketing, building a process that his production people, his designers, would lead interested customers down that path, get them excited. And then their objection was that we're not salespeople. He says, you don't have to be salespeople. Be a great designer. And at the end, just say, here's your line. We would love to get started on this project with you. You just got to sign here. And so, of course, the question was, how did that affect business? He said, actually, our first year doing this, business is up 12%.
Wow.
So we left that, and I was there with my partners, a couple of partners.
So why wasn't it closing in the traditional model? I love what you're showing me. I'm all lathered up, but the traditional model wasn't getting the close rate that obviously people wanted. Why was that broken?
Well, for him, and I know there's a lot more nuances there than what I've seen or what I've been exposed to, but for him, what he said is that when you're talking to a salesperson, your defenses are going up. So a customer's defenses are up when they're talking to the salesperson. When they're, if you're buying a car and you're talking to a salesperson, that's a great example, right? Most of us had the experience of buying a car.
Right.
You go in, the salesperson approach you, you're on defense, right? Yep. You're automatically on defense. Anything they say is through a grain of salt. There's a bit of grain of salt with it. You're kind of on defense because you're worried about being taken advantage of, all those traditional fears that you think about, and the proverbial
trust factor, all
those things. But let's say if you wanted to buy new Cadillac or BMW, like a nice car, and you go into the BMW lot and you talk to a salesperson, your defenses are going to go up. But what if you talk to a car enthusiast who knows BMWs, knows Mercedes, knows all the brands out there, and talks to you and says, John, let me tell you about the car that I just bought. I just bought this BMW car, model, whatever, and share, this is what I like about it. Like just the interior, the way that they do this, like they really think about the user, the driver, and the experience that they have. And the way that the engine is built, like I never have this problem. Like you're going to trust that, right? And you're going to, good chance you'll go out and buy a BMW because of a car enthusiast showed you all the things that you could be enjoying and that could benefit you yourself. And what he was saying, bringing it back to his construction company, the salesperson, the customers are on defense. But you talk to a designer who the customer, in their mind is not being sold to. Instead, the designer is saying, you know what, we could do this kind of trim. You know what about these light fixtures over here? We could do a recess, ceiling over here. They're going to get excited about that, envisioning their project, their home, their renovation. And the designer is the best person because the designer is the person who's really knowledgeable, like that car expert. They're the ones that know design. They know how to refinish take the home that you have now and refinish it into something really spectacular. And they're going to trust a designer. But then, what he noticed was as soon as it went back to the salesperson, then the defenses went up again. Now I'm being sold to again. And he said that incongruency in the customer journey made so many deals die at the end of it. The designers walks away thinking, oh, you know what? Mrs. Jones, she is sold. Like Mr. and Mrs. Jones, they are buying this renovation. There is no doubt in my mind.
And then he or she doesn't know what happened.
Don't know what happened. The deal fell through.
So, Andy, are you saying, and I'm probably cutting a little too soon, but If I have a law firm, my lawyers should be the salespeople. If I have, an accounting firm, my accountant should be. The DiJulius group, my consultant should be the salespeople, because the first concern is, they're not salespeople, right? And that mindset. The second thing is, it scares me to pull them off consulting or accounting to, I know it's an investment, but spend time with a lot of people that may or may not, I'd rather them out there doing their job. How do we balance that productivity of taking them off that billable hour, if you will?
Yeah. Great question, John. And so I'll give you the short answer, and then I'll tell you our story and the way that I look at it too, because, I think the answer will be kind of reinforced there. But the short answer is, I talked to a good friend of mine 2 weeks ago, and he said, I've got a salesperson leaving the company and I've got to replace that person. And he said, anyway, we were chatting. He's a longtime friend of mine. And he was saying that you ask anybody in business, the position they enjoy hiring the least is typically sales positions. That's one thing. The other thing is, so it's really hard to find good salespeople. And I don't take anything away from good salespeople, because I'll tell you, even my kids, I tell them, you're always selling. I believe Daniel Pink wrote the book, To Sell is Human. You're always selling. You're selling your ideas. You're selling your concepts. You're selling yourself. You're selling product, service, whatever. Good salespeople are unbelievable. Like, I love a really good salesperson. They're just really, really, really difficult to find. So if you're a law firm, if you own a law firm, it's probably 99 times out of 100 is because you're a lawyer, you start a firm, and all of a sudden you get clients, you start growing, and then all of a sudden this is like a legitimate firm. So we want to start growing. We want to start making this firm large. Do you hire salespeople or do you hire lawyers? So as a lawyer myself, if I'm that entrepreneur, I can probably hire another really good lawyer pretty well, because I know law. I know what a good lawyer looks like. I know how it looks and feels. I know how to manage them. I know how to talk to them. So I can probably hire a really good lawyer quite well. It's really difficult for me to hire a really good salesperson. Now, there are people out there that can do it. I'm just saying it's very, very rare to find people that can do it. So I would much rather hire a lawyer than a salesperson. Now, the thing with selling, though, is that when you're working with a prospect, if I'm Joe customer looking for legal services and I talk to a salesperson, that's going to be probably a less favorable conversation than if I was talking to a lawyer who, and that's a great example. You're in advising as a business coach. I do a lot of advising too. When I talk to a prospect, my first thing is I sit down, let's talk about your problems. And you give value first, right? You give value, you help them out. Even if they never end up hiring you, but they walk away with some value thinking, wow, these guys are really smart. I've got this. I don't need their services right now. When I do, they're the ones I'm going to want to talk to because they gave a lot of value first. So a designer working with a homeowner, giving a lot of value and providing a lot of insights and making them more knowledgeable so that they can make their home renovation more of a success. Or the small business owner that can go in and have a free consult with a lawyer and gain that insight. And again, their knowledge and gain that value. They're going to much rather do business with that lawyer who helped them out, discussing their problems and what possible next steps are, than they are going to be a salesperson who, right or wrong, in the mind of the customer is there to get the sale.
Yeah. And I love what you're saying. I believe I'm the worst. I don't know how to tell anyone how to sell, but like you said, you and I and all of us, we're just naturally, because something we believe in so much that it's like, I just saw a movie last night, Andy. It made me think you and your person would absolutely love this movie, and you'll go out and watch that movie, right? And I love that. And so my favorite thing is educate versus sell, right?
Educate versus sell. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, in any industry.
That's what you're describing is, and that someone walks away from that interaction saying, I would have paid for that. Like,
exactly.
I learned so much more. I can actually, the next person I go to, I might know more than that salesperson does because how much I just learned about all those. I love that. I love where you're going.
Hi, this is Denise Thompson, Managing Partner of the DiJulius Group. We know it can be difficult getting the whole team as excited as you are about customer experience. You talk to them, write newsletters, and it seems to go in one ear and out the other. Sometimes it's the message, sometimes it's the messenger, sometimes it's just a tough crowd. Consider bringing John in to speak live at your next company or association event. He'll have them laughing, crying, cheering, and most importantly, understanding how to become world-class. Visit johndijulius.com for details or to book your date now.
I am talking to Andy Buyting, who is the author of his third book, Double Sales, Zero Salespeople, Optimize Your Sales and Marketing into One Business Development Strategy that Works. Before we get more into that, Andy, tell everyone your background story. How did you become the Tulip guy? What happened, and what does your business do, and how has it evolved?
Sure. So the Tulip guy, it's funny because when we first got into this business, we were branded as a different company that at the time we were about to send out. We did a bunch of work. I put as much thought into it as a lot of entrepreneurs do when they're launching their business, flying by the seat of their pants. At the time, I asked my 4-year-old daughter, what should daddy name his company?
Yeah.
My kids are named Carter and Leah. So she said Carly. So we call it Carly Publishing. Anyway, we rebranded as Tulip Media.
The reason I remember Carly Publishing.
Carly Publishing.
Yeah.
So that was named by a 4-year-old daughter who's now in her teens. But anyway, we rebranded as Tulip Media. I was doing a lot of keynotes, a lot of talks around the country, around the US and Canada. And, one of the visuals I always put up was that, we will help you become the red tulip in the sea of yellow. And it was just this one visual, all like thousands of yellow tulips, and there's one red tulip in the middle. And people would come back afterwards or come up afterwards. They said, that's a great slide. Like, that's a great image. And that's what they remember. Oh, you're the guy that helps me stand out like the red tulip. So when we rebranded, we went with that in part because of that. And also I'm Dutch heritage. So the team thought, the tulip is really indicative of the Dutch heritage. So, but we rebranded as Tulip Media, and the jacket that John is referring to, that image that I use in our branding, it's the exact image because I needed to do a talk and they weren't going to allow me to have any slides. It was a really quick talk, no slides. And I said, guys, I need some way to stand out. Like, I can't put the tulip slide up on the big screen. Like, there's no big screen at this conference. And one guy said, well, why don't you get like a really colorful jacket, like, something that really stands out. And we're like, well, why don't we do the tulip thing? So we get the exact image. We found a company that prints fabric in the exact image and had it custom made. And so I've been wearing the tulip jacket ever since. And
you have it on now. And
I have it on now.
When you, our listeners go to our show notes, you'll see a lovely picture of Andy in his tulip jacket and all the how to connect with Andy and how to order his book and all that. So Andy, tell us, what is Tulip Media?
Well, what we do is we help people do what Patty did with Finished Basements. And that's what we did with our own company is we help people set up I'm a big believer that, sales and marketing needs to be one cohesive system, right? We call it SMarketing. And it's not the marketing silo and the sales silo. It's one business development strategy that needs to work. And what we do is we help client partners, we work with them to set up the strategy so that, because when we did our pivot, and I did the same thing that Patty did, we let go of our entire sales team in one afternoon, and we relied on digital marketing strategies, effective digital marketing strategies to bring leads in. And now prospects talk to production people, talk to production managers, digital marketing specialists, and the like. And they're the ones that get them excited about their project, their go-to-market strategy, and want to do business with us. So what we do is we'll work with a client partner, as we refer to them, and we'll develop an entire strategy. So we'll start with a good, deep competitive analysis so that we can build a keyword strategy. And for those that know a lot about digital marketing, keyword phrases and keyword strategy is the foundation to a good marketing strategy, because without that, you're not speaking the language of Google, social media, and the like. So a good, solid keyword strategy, which is very, very customized. It's unique to each individual client partner. With that, we will work with them and we'll update their website. Because I liken that to, you used to be in the salon business. You would never open up a salon, start advertising and bringing people in and then fixing up your salon. No, you actually fix up your salon first. You have it beautifully designed. You have it fully staffed, merchandise, like just beautiful. You sweep off the front doorstep and then you invite people in.
Well, this would have been good advice 30 years ago.
So, but you know what I mean, right? You do that first and then you invite people in. But yet so many people, when they think about digital marketing, it's all about, oh, we got to get more traffic to our website. Well, what if your website doesn't convert anyone? Right. And there's a scientific way to set that up. And we use the StoryBrand methodology. We're one of few StoryBrand certified agencies in North America with Don Miller's system, but we believe in that system because it works. So we'll update the website, leveraging keyword strategy and the StoryBrand methodology, build out a brand script and build all of this stuff out. I mean, it's a lot of jargon, but what it does is it makes sure that people that get to your website, if they're the right people, they will take your action that you tell them to do, which maybe depends on the client. It might be to make a purchase. It might be to book a consult. It might be to request a quote, whatever it is. But it's a scientific way of laying out and messaging that ends up on your landing page or website to get people to take action, the right people to take action. And that's like setting up your salon for success. Once that's done, then we start inviting people on there. And we do that through leveraging the keyword strategy again to do content marketing. So we can get your rankings up there with Google rankings through search engine optimization. And we leverage it for paid advertising too, paid per click on Google or social media. It all depends what's right for the client partner. And we'll set that up and we'll manage the whole process. So what we're doing essentially is we're not digital marketers. The way I put it is that we're a company that will set up the strategy and will manage your online promotions, because promotions means that you're getting something. Like it's not just traffic, it's not just awareness, it's not just eyeballs. It is actually people who have reached out. The way I put it is that when I think of our own marketing, John, with Tulip Media, I don't put a whole lot of weight into how much traffic we got last month or how many Facebook likes we got or how many people are following us on LinkedIn, that type of thing. What I care about is how many times did our phone ring, how many people filled out a contact form looking for more information about our services, and how many people booked meetings in our calendar through our website wanting to learn more. Those three things, that's what we measure. That's our measurement of success. So we set up the strategy and we actually execute on that strategy for the long haul, managing it week by week, month by month, quarter by quarter for client partners with the sole goal of bringing those marketing qualified leads to their production people or salespeople or whoever it might be. So that's what we do. That's what we focus on now.
And this, the doubling sales, your book, is that also part of what you're helping people do is drive marketing with less labor, so to speak?
Yeah, with a good system front to back. So we'll consult on the marketing as well as their sales tactics and how they, what does that customer journey look like? And then we'll manage the front end. In the book, we outlined, let's say if we break it all down, I always use our company as an example because but we have an 8-step process to land a deal, like 8 stages through the marketing and sales process to land a deal. Well, we do that. We'll lay that out, consult with the person, help them with that. And then we'll automate the first half of the funnel. We'll automate that and we'll manage that. And the way we put it is we make marketing managers look like superheroes because we put their capabilities and their output on overdrive. And then we work with them because then when we hand in a marketing qualified lead or, they come into their inbox, what they do with that, we need to, and that's where we get into more of monthly coaching calls or tactical calls, quarterly strategy sessions to help them set up their sales team or production team who are going to take in these sales calls to set up their team to best leverage the leads that are coming into their company. And by doing that, I was chatting with a client partner who signed on not long ago. They're going to launch here in another month or so in the next window. With them, we said, okay, we're not looking to replace the salespeople. What we're going to do is we're going to make your salespeople a lot more productive, because they're not going to go out there knocking on doors, so to speak, to try to generate interest. We're going to be providing them. They're going to wake up with meetings booked in their calendar.
Or solid leads.
Overnight.
Yeah.
Solid leads yeah.
But listen, Andy, we all know this, and it's what I'm consulting with my clients. The best way to fight against the Great Resignation is automate everywhere you can. I'm the customer service guy, right? I'm the relationship guy, but we got to automate at the most places that our staff doesn't like doing, right? It's mind-boggling booking me and you an appointment, going back and forth, or our assistants going back and forth. Well, he's available Wednesday the 8th. No, he's out of town. All right, how about Thursday? You just go to each other's Calendly and, someone books it, it's done, right?
Exactly.
And it's easier for the user. Our employees don't need, that they're not getting any fulfillment out of doing that. But automate where you can. And then where the key component comes in, the relationship, the expertise, the educating, and all that. And I think this is great, because every business is going to have to, find the best ways to automate, use artificial intelligence, and all that. So I love what you're building here. Is there certain industries this is better for than others, or anyone's business model could potentially use Tulip Media and double the sales methodology?
So where we find it works best and where we focus is companies that are B2B, that have an online to offline sales process, meaning, and we work with insurance agencies, we work with all the way up to fire truck manufacturers, where their average sale is $750,000. It works incredibly well. But if it's a B2B, online to offline sales process, that's where we seem to knock it out of the park, and we bat 1,000. And we have just thinking of this, a client partner called us here a couple months ago, and after launching with them for about 3 or 4 months, she called up and she said, so I've got good news and bad news. It's like, okay,
yeah,
let's start with the bad news.
Right.
She said the bad news is we need to hire 3 more producers, or what they, in the insurance industry is what they call their salespeople.
Yeah.
We need to hire 3 more salespeople. I said, well, what's the good news then? If that's the bad news, she said, well, it's to keep up with the leads that are being generated.
That's awesome.
And I love that story,
because
in their team, and they have quite a few producers already, in their team, their producers are just, their output is so much more, because they're not cold calling as much. They're not knocking on doors. They're waking up to saying, oh my goodness, I've got a call at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I have another one at 4:30 this afternoon, booked overnight or last evening, from prospects that want to talk to us about insurance.
So this is what I want to ask you, Andy. This is so now, it starts, and obviously all this bleeds over to the customer experience, right? And so we teach our clients, and a great new metric that is out is earned sales, right? And earned sales is, all right, whatever my sales was last quarter, it was $100,000. Of that, how much of it was from repeat and referrals? Yep. Right? Because as you said, if Andy calls me saying, John, I want to hire you again, or so-and-so said, I have to hire you, yep, right? That's a completely different sales cycle. And, I don't have to stand on my head and prove to you what we do, because you're probably not calling a whole lot of other people in that case. Sales cycles close, price is less relevant versus I've just Googled, companies that do what you do. I got 6 calls in the next 2 days, impress me over the other 5. Can your model help? Because you're talking about, your salespeople wake up, they have warmer leads, they have hotter leads, but more qualified leads. So can it help at all go deeper with existing clients and referrals?
So I'm 100% aligned, and I love the concept of earned sales. Now, I would say our process will help with, because every business needs a large element of returning customers, referrals, and so on. and start there. That's the best place. But when it comes to cold new prospects coming in the door, that's what we specialize in, is in the other half. But to your point, I had a call from somebody I've known for a while, and he called me up and he said, we're struggling. We're kind of flat the last 3 years. We need to grow. And I'm wondering if Tulip can help us. So after talking to him for about 15, 20 minutes, I said, I'm going to say something now, and I'm going to talk myself out of a job completely, because I'll be honest with you, you don't have an attraction problem. You have a leaky bucket problem. You're losing clients. Like in your industry, you should be holding on to clients 4 to 5 years, and you're losing them after 18 months.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. I'd love to work with you, and I think we could bring in more leads. But you're actually doing pretty good.
High attrition.
You cannot outsell high attrition.
No.
And that's where
I'm losing 20% of my customers a year, which one of our clients did.
Yeah.
They had to be in over 20% of sales growth just to break even.
Exactly.
And that's a good 20% sales growth is great. You usually can't maintain that.
So John, usually when I say in a case like that, I said, I've got one advice for you. I've got 2 words, John DiJulius. Just go there, buy his books, read them.
Andy, we're 40 minutes into this, and I've been trying to get you there, and you finally, geez, Andy.
I love it.
Just kidding.
And I'll tell you, that's the first place you got to start. If you can stop your leaky bucket, then you can grow it. It's as simple as that. You've got to start there. If you have a leaky bucket problem, don't call Tulip Media.
Right.
Fix your leaky bucket first. Call John first. Yeah. And then once you get that fixed, then call us and we'll help you grow it.
So let me pick your marketing mind, because you are one of the foremost leading authorities on marketing. What's the difference between marketing and promotion?
Marketing, a lot of people use the term marketing as a catch-all phrase, and it almost loses its power because of that. But marketing to me,
advertising in marketing?
Yeah, advertising quite often. Yeah. So marketing is growing, getting brand awareness. It's growing your followers. There's a place for it and you need it. All of those things, growing your followers on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever platform is right for your business. The difference between that and promotions, marketing is getting that brand awareness, getting that following, having more and more people know about John DiJulius. That's marketing. And your brand positioning and everything else that goes behind that. Promotions is actually running campaigns that result in more revenues for John DiJulius. That's promotions. Like promotions is marketing is Tulip Media can do all of these things, and content marketing is a lot of that. Promotions is when, if you're ready to grow your sales and you want to hire, you want to have an outsourced company to make your marketing manager or marketing specialist look like a superhero and actually double, triple, quadruple their output and their results, call us, because promotions is more direct selling through marketing tactics, through online or other such tactics. So yeah, promotions is really, it's selling online versus marketing is branding and brand awareness and brand positioning. A lot of content books are written to position. You are an expert in customer service. You write books to share your knowledge, to help your audience, and to also position you as an authority in customer service, right? That's marketing.
And we need a healthy dose of all of it?
You need a healthy dose of all of it. Absolutely. Yeah, you need both. Because it's one thing to put books out there and to really market yourself as an authority in customer service. But if you're not generating new sales, there's got to be a healthy mix of good promotion, online promotion as well, to generate new consulting sales, speaking sales, that type of thing.
Awesome. And so you started talking about a little bit, but how does the customer service, customer experience weave its way in? Because I do know that is something that you can help your clients with, and better than anyone that it goes back to, when you're talking about, you don't want to invite a bunch of people before you're ready, right? And it's the same thing. If my experience is inconsistent, and I say the enemy of great customer experience is inconsistency. It is employee roulette. It's, when your level of experience is based on which employee you get, that's pretty scary. So, we could have the greatest marketing in the world. We get a ton of people. All we're doing is getting a ton of people to leave and start doing brand terrorism. So where does that go? First, behind, always?
I think it's all the way through, John. Like, I talked about that friend of mine that, had the leaky bucket problem. Customer service and more of a longer term value for their clients is, they needed to be able to do it, and second, demonstrate that. And so, good customer service will help the retention and help the leaky bucket syndrome. But customer service is not just about that. As you know, customer service starts with the first time they interact with your brand or your name anywhere, right? If they have a bad experience with you on LinkedIn, nobody's ever going to talk to them, right? So your customer service, I think, in my mind, there's so many aspects of it, but it goes through the entire customer journey, through the sales journey. There's got to be customer service. If you can come back to your example, if you're like a lot of our client partners, if you're a business that does online to offline sales process and you make it difficult for a person to something as simple as booking a call with you,
right?
That's poor customer service. Like, you know what? Yeah, John, you and I need to talk about your promotion, your online promotions and growing your business online. Look, I'm going to have my assistant set up a time and you guys go back and forth and 6 emails later. That's not good customer service.
And right? As I know this is what you teach. You lost me while I was all lathered up. Like I heard you speak, read your book, listened to you on a podcast. This is exactly what we need. But then, it's like that cool red jacket at Nordstrom's, right? I got to have it. If they make me wait long enough, I come to my senses and say, how many more jackets do I really need? And you gotta hit them when they're still stoked and they're dreaming about how this is going to change the course of their business.
That's right. And you need to be respectful about, it's all about meeting your customer where they are at. And it doesn't matter if it's in your online promotions, your marketing, your website, your social media messaging. It doesn't matter if it's the service you're giving when they're entering in your facility or in your office or over the phone. Meet the customer where they're at and bring them through a journey that plays into their needs, helps resolve their pain points, and plays, quite frankly, into their personality. Because another big thing that I think people overlook is that, if you have somebody who is very, in the DISC assessment, they call it a high D, very dominant. I'm a high D. So if you don't get to the point really quickly in a sales call, I'm going to lose interest very quickly. Now, that's me. That's not everyone. Some people like to have more of a conversation and want to connect on a social or emotional level first. So you've got to give the customer journey that is right for that customer, right? And you've got to keep that in mind as well. So, I mean, there's a lot to it.
Yeah. And so tell me this is something that's really big and we've been, coaching our clients to it. Tell me if your book and your methodology and Tulip Media helps with this. I always say customer experience is won and lost in the transitions. And what I mean by that is in the traditional business model as we started off the show with. And, I'm excited talking to you. I want to get rid of my sales staff. The problem is my top salesperson is also my fiance. So I don't know how that's going to go over.
Yeah, that might be a difficult conversation. If you do need to, I'll do some coaching on that one, okay?
I'm going to have you do it. But anyway, but this is, a lot of business, right? You call in and you want to hire the DiJulius group. And this is for any business. And so our salesperson, qualifies you, tells you what, and you guys are like, oh my God, like I need A, B, and C. We do A, B, and C. And you're basically buying her, right? Claudia. Yep. And you're like, oh, I love this. Well, then you sign the contract, Claudia goes away, the consultant comes in, and a conversation could be like, when you say, I'm excited about it, whoa, no, we don't necessarily do that. Oh, Claudia, no. I think you might have misunderstood her or, whatever. And all of a sudden you start feeling like she was over-promising just to get you to sign the dotted line. You had the relationship with her. She knows you has 2 kids. She knows, if you're from Canada. I'm the brand new consultant and, you're not feeling it anymore.
Yeah.
And so, but it's the same thing in even in hiring, right? The HR person, right? I apply, you're the HR person, and I love you. And you got me pictured. I'm going to be the next or the future president of this company. You made me, I'm going to start off vacuuming and think, but you told me if I do, I'm like, great. Now Monday I come to the location. Yeah. You're not there, the HR person. And I walk in and the supervisor's there. I'm like, hi, I'm John. And they're like, how can we help you? I'm your newest employee. And they're like, what? And they didn't know I was coming in.
And HR never tells me that.
Right. And they have no time for this. Yeah. And, they got to be busy. And there's no equipment, no computer. And I start questioning, wait a minute, maybe Andy was just a slick pickup artist and he was just getting people hired. So I'm wondering, do you address this? Do you help? Because that's a major problem. Whenever it's handed off from one team to another, and you don't do that onboarding and you don't do that warm handoff, and we're all on the call, shit can hit the fan.
Yeah. And you hit some of it right on the head is that, the warm handoffs and so there's little things, and we work with our client partners, what happens when the lead comes in? Like, let's talk through that process. And it comes up, it is one of the things that we do with all of our, I think a lot of digital marketing companies so on, they'll run their program in a vacuum almost. We insist, like, if you're not willing to get on a monthly call and a quarterly strategy session about your branding and marketing and promotions, we're not going to take you on as a client, because we need to have that conversation so that we can help. And we've run into that a number of times where we're seeing the numbers on the dashboard. This client partner is doing really well. Like, we're sending them, it's early in the process. We're starting to send them leads already. And then we get onto the call and saying, okay, so tell us about, because we talked about how the leads were going to be handled and so on. So how is that going? How's the process going? Oh yeah, Johnny quit last month. Oh, we're getting we've even heard that one time. Nobody's monitoring that email. Like, are you kidding me? So you're right. The handoffs need to be seamless. And it means that there's warm handoffs. It means that the next person in the chain of events and along the customer journey has been informed and updated from the other person. And what I mean by that, and whether that other person is, automated online promotion campaigns or a person. And what I mean by that is that when we talk to a client for the first time, as an example, we know what pages they visit on the website. We know a fair bit about their business, so we don't have to ask them twice. Like, how many times have you called into a call center and said, what's your problem? Describe your problem. The telecom companies, what's the phone number you're calling from?
Account number.
Account number. I'm going to hand you off to Jane, our account specialist.
All those same questions.
What's your phone number? No, that's not a good customer journey. But you're right, in the sales process. So little things like we make sure that if it's Jane that's taking the first phone call to qualify new leads, where does it go from there? Well, then we bring it into a specialist. Okay, great. Does Jane join them on that call? Well, no, the specialist just does it from there. Why doesn't Jane just join them? Because they now have a relationship with Jane. Build the trust with Jane. Jane can then bring in the specialist and talk about their strategy, their solution. And then, you know what? In that strategy, we brought in John. You know what? We realized that actually, we should really talk to Sue. So then Jane takes her sits in on the call with Sue. And then when it's whatever the step is, the other little thing that I find really helps a lot is that when the deal is finally done and it's going to be handed off to that other consultant or whoever's going to take that project and run with it, the first person that had that first contact, Jane should do two things in the background. One, they should inform the consultant, have a meeting before they ever meet with the new client. Right. Go over, here are all the notes. This consultant is located here. Here's their business. Here's the pain points. And by the way, they have a son named Carter and a dog named Rex, and they love their dog. So that the consultant,
something that he brought up several times that he's concerned about is X. So let's make sure we lead with X.
That's right.
Because he is so afraid of that happening. It happened with the last vendor he used.
That's right. And then have Jane actually go on to that first call and say, look, I want to introduce you to Russ. Russ is going to be your consultant, is going to take it now and be part of that first strategy kickoff meeting. And then Jane, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, you're in good hands with Russ. And the other thing is tee up the next person as an expert. Like, The reason why I'm bringing you to Russ is Russ has a specialty in the salon business. Like he knows it inside and out better than anyone here in our office. That's why I want you to work with him. He's got the availability in his calendar, and we're going to, Jane is part of that initial kickoff meeting and does that warm handoff to Russ, who can come in and say, okay, you know what? Yeah, thank you, Jane. Look, Jane has brought me up to speed. I understand your pain points. I understand it's this. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into this and this. And the customer journey is so much more enjoyable and so much more fruitful because the prospect knows that trusted individual, Jane, has held her hand every step along the way.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's critical. Are you still doing the magazines?
We do. So we do all the digital, all the online promotional.
Let's talk about that. And if that's still a big part of your business.
It is. And it's a differentiator.
Let me the reason why I'm asking is selfish because you helped me knock off a bucket list. I'm actually looking at my office right now. You put me on the cover of maybe two, but definitely one I'm looking at right now. Yep. And my children thought I was a little obnoxious because I did the whole wall on the cover around the fireplace, and they just thought the holidays, that was a little obnoxious, but
I love it.
I liked it. So tell our listeners about your magazine.
Yeah. So that's how we actually started in business, was doing custom publishing for client partners, custom publishing their own branded magazine for their business or newsletters, that type of thing. But now how it's all integrated in is that when we take on a client partner now, like I said, we do the website, we do the promotion, whether it's content marketing or paid marketing online to land new clients. And then we're a big believer in integrating that marketing and promotion material by taking the blog articles that we've created. Again, we're creating blog articles that drive your SEO, drive your search engine rankings up. So we're creating great content that is centered around a good keyword strategy. So we know scientifically that it's using the terms and it's the content that your audience is looking for. We write the blog articles for your website, and then we repurpose those articles into, because then once we're creating content on a regular basis for a client partner, then once a quarter, we can put that into a newsletter or a magazine very easily. And it takes virtually no time on your part, except for to approve the plan. We'll work away at the content, the design. We'll take care of the design, the production, the printing production, the US post distribution, everything. And you can have your content that is valuable to your reader, that into a hard format.
It could be in my reception area. Am I mailing it out to my clients?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what we suggest. Use this, send it out to all of your clients or prospects, people that are on your list, on your target list, and have a bunch for your office.
It makes you look like the definitive expert at what you do, correct?
It does. It's similar to a book, right? When you can change something.
Listen, not everyone in the world can write a book, but this almost does the exact same thing. Is he or she must really know their stuff. Yeah.
They're publishing their own magazine.
So you're still doing that?
We're still doing that. Yeah. Right. And we integrate it with the digital stuff. So it all works seamlessly together.
That's awesome. All right. Tell my listeners, I will have it in the show notes how to connect with Andy, but how do they get the book, Andy, Double Sales? How do they follow Andy? How do they learn more about Andy?
Sure. So, of course, on Amazon, you can get the book, Double Sales, Zero Salespeople. People can visit our website at any time. It's at tulipmediagroup.com. And we'll have a special landing page for readers. And by the way, in that landing page at tmmedia/double sales, it'll be in the show notes as we talked about earlier. But in there, if somebody wants to, they can go right on there. And again, making it easy, they can book a consult leveraging Calendly. So you don't have to go back and forth. By the time in your calendar, you can book a consult. It just take a half an hour of my time or my co-author, Jessica Embry's time, and it'll go right in the calendar. And we'll chat about your business. And I always am very clear. We don't have to do business together. If you walk away from a half-hour conversation a little bit more knowledgeable about what you need to do next, like that's incredible satisfaction to me. So you can connect with us there. I'm on LinkedIn at just Andy Buyting.
I'm going to post all the ways they can connect with you over social media, on your website, buy the book.
Yeah.
And I know firsthand, Andy, we've known each other for a long time. And I just
Has been.
trying to think, is just go back to being on the same speaking circuit at the EO and YPO events. Is that how our paths crossed?
I can't remember the first time I met you, but you know where it was? It was at the Chicago University, EO University, probably right around 2002 or something, 2005, something like that. It was early. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've come out to Birthing Giants or GOT and I've seen you at the summits, and we run into each other regularly.
We go way back. I'm excited. This is awesome. Another best-selling book in your repertoire. And I love your team. Erica is a rock star. I mean, every time I deal with anyone from your team, it is an amazing experience. And they do what they say, and you have a great reputation. So I really appreciate it. Congratulations you on another best-selling book and what you're doing for all your clients. I really appreciate you being on the Customer Service Revolution podcast.
Thank you, John. I'm really honored to be here, truly.
All right, Revolutionaries, thank you for another episode of the Customer Service Revolution podcast, and we will see you next week.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give the Customer Service Revolution podcast a thumbs up and write us a review. To hear more episodes, subscribe now on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening and for being part of the Customer Service Revolution.